Welcome viewers to this edition of our latest discussion. This time we're discussing the budget 2017-18 and with specific reference to agriculture. With me in the studio today to discuss the subject, my panel of experts to discuss the subject. On my immediate right, Dr. John Bahana, who is agricultural scientist. Welcome to our show. No stranger to the New Vision and the Vision Group, the Honorable Victoria Sechitoruko, former agriculture minister, but also has been the chief judge in our Farm of the Year Awards event. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
And Dr. Emma Naluima, who is no stranger also to the New Vision. She's been one of our best farmers in previous years. She's done a lot of work with us on pushing the message of agriculture. Welcome to our show. So very straight out, I want to say that the budget is going to be read in June, as we all know, and it's at this time when people are discussing what should be or what should not be in the budget. Specifically to agriculture, the budget this year, the total budget to the nation is going to be about 28 trillion, that is 28,000 billion shillings. For you who have time, maybe that is 28 with the 12 zeros, right? Yep. 28 with 12 zeros. Interestingly, the budget for agriculture this year is going to be about 883 billion, or about 3.3% of the total budget. For me, it raises eyebrows. They say that agriculture provides a livelihood for 7 in 10 Ugandans, but we allocate 3.3% of the budget to agriculture. Let me start with you. Let me put you on the spot, the Honorable Victoria Sechitoruko, and I'm going to rely on your experience in this ministry. Okay, you've been away quite a while, but I'm sure you have some feeling about it. How is it possible that we can allocate 3% of our budget for an activity that provides a livelihood for 70% of Ugandans?
Apparently, government has priorities, and currently, infrastructure and energy are the priority areas. But then, for the longest time in the past and even in the future, agriculture will be the backbone of the economy. Without agriculture, those roads will be rendered useless. Without agriculture, more people will fall sick. Without proper nutrition which comes from agriculture, more children will be born before time, will be stunted and all that. So how come we are giving agriculture such a small portion? I'm told the budget is small, that the spirit is willing, the government spirit is willing, but the budget is limiting. In my view, I understand that, and my suggestion is this. If the government can actually bite the bullet and decide and say, agriculture, you are going to get 3% per annum, but decide and say, for this year, we are going for this value chain. Let's say if you choose the dairy value chain, put all that 3% in everything that supports the value chain. Then at the end of 2017, 2018, you will say, yeah, that was that, and you have something to point back at. But when we sprinkle a little here and a little there and a little here, really, that is why sometimes seeing the product is difficult. Two, if I was working in the ministry, let's say I'm an officer there, and I knew that my sector is the priority this year, I would work, and everybody would say, what happened? And I'll tell them we are priority. So for me, that is what the way I look at it.
That's interesting. But let me come to you, and maybe also put you on the spot, Dr. Bahana. Do we have the luxury of sequencing? Maybe that's why we are putting something everywhere and all over the place. We just don't have that luxury.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this seems to be the trend, that when we've got this limited resource envelope, we do not explain how we should go into priority areas. We keep singing about value chains, we keep singing about additional value to our agricultural production, but when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to budget allocation, we now desist from explaining where that money goes. I've seen, it's not really a joke, but I've seen a tarmac road somewhere in Mbale where people were drying their grain.
Yes.
And to them, that was something that they needed to use. But really, the planners were not thinking along those lines.
You never
So
know.
the question of prioritization is very, very critical. Go into an area, do something about it, and at the end report and say, this is what we did with the money that you gave us, rather than sprinkling everywhere and ending up with nothing. I agree entirely.
So.
Yes.
Dr. Naluma, you're the one really in the kitchen. You have your farm, you have your enterprise, and even to top it all, you're a vet doctor, so you know the theory of it and the practice of it. Do you agree that we should be doing specifically certain fields? Do we have that luxury?
Yeah, we should do specific fields because, take for example, like we said, we have very little money. So if we have little money, we can't afford to keep putting. We won't see it. This money will be insignificant, and that's why for all these very many years, this money has always been. They allocate money, but you don't see what it has been being used. Take for example now, if we did, I don't remember. I think I wasn't born. But when I was doing my vet practice, everywhere I went, there's this, I think he's a former minister, Babiha. Yeah. For the time he was there, everyone knew, I think there was a problem, I think, with water, and he did irrigation. Yes. And up to now, his name lives on. I don't think there was money then. I don't know. I wasn't there. Yeah, but he did something that is still living on. So if we decide, like right now, the prices of everything in Uganda are bad. Of course, it's good for a farmer who maybe did irrigation, who had a water source somewhere, because they're selling their maize, their crops at a high price, maybe. But unfortunately, these farmers are rare. There's hardly anyone. So a price, I think maize now is at 2,000 a kilo. We are buying posho at, I think, 3,000. In Busoga, where actually this maize comes from, it's at 3,500. So
the Kenyans are buying.
So that is the challenge. So if we prioritize that last year, and the beauty about it is that we were hit by this last year. The budget has come. So we had a lot of time to think about this. So as we are allocating, as the people, the experts are allocating in the budget, they're like, fine, if we're hit by the drought last year, what do we do? Maybe there's plan for irrigation. Just imagine how much water, when the rains come, has been poured, and has been poured away, but there's no storage. And in the next 1 month, we won't have rain. We shall go back to square one or zero.
The Honorable, I mean, you've been in the ministry, you know these processes. I get the sense that maybe we just say, how much are you going to give us? We're going to give us 800. Okay, put, and we go. Is there a plan? What was the process like when you were there? Or has it broken down? Or was it never there to begin with? I don't know. Maybe you'll tell us. You've been there.
First of all, the plans have always been there. That is one. Two, currently, we have got the national development plans drawn up by the National Planning Authority. And I remember reading the first page of that National Planning Authority, which says in part that if we are to attain the middle income status by 2020, we have to follow that plan to the letter. Now, I don't know whether some people are not reading the letter or some people were left out, but I don't see certain things. Specifically, this is what I don't see. I have honestly read the 400 pages of this budget. I was looking for just one phrase: producer cooperative societies. Everybody is saying form groups. We are saying we have to revive the cooperatives in order to revive agriculture. The bedrock of agriculture production is actually producer cooperative societies. Now, they are not in the policy of the Ministry of Agriculture, neither are they in trade. Because when you talk to trade, trade will tell you, no, those are producer, so we are not in charge of production. Then when you talk to MAIF, they will tell you that, no, those are cooperatives. Can't you read? This is Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Cooperatives. So as a result, there is no planning to revive the producer cooperative societies for this year. So if anybody is talking about reviving cooperative unions, which is very much in the development plan, it is not there this year.
For the benefit of our listeners, just explain, how did these things used to work? Chances are most of our listeners are not born during...
I know. I know.
How did these things work, and
Okay.
how useful were they?
This is how I'll take the example of tea. When we were growing tea, anybody coming from Bushenyi, Greater Bushenyi, where Greater Bushenyi and Toro, where the best tea is grown, every factory which was processing tea belonged to a cooperative society. So this factory had extension services. They would come and tell you how to plant, how to prune, how to pick. They would even supervise the quality. Then they would buy your tea. But when you harvest your tea, they come to your farm. You know, I don't deliver the tea. They come to your farm and pick it. But they come with an inspector to inspect what you are selling. Then they take that tea to the factory. They pay you for the tea. And we had the Uganda Tea Authority, which was looking at the quality to ensure that we get top-notch price for our tea. Now, when the producer cooperatives died and we remained with the factories, now everybody is on their own. They are not sure when to plant, how to prune, what to pick. And now that there is no authority to say no factory here, no factory there, don't pick this, don't pick the other, even the quality of tea coming from Uganda has been affected. So that is why, to me, that is the one simple example about tea, but the same is true for coffee, because even coffee was like that. And some of us are thinking that even simple things like bananas, even maize, sorghum, we should have these producer cooperatives so that the extension workers, the quality, the quantity can be ascertained.
But sorry, just to stay with you, this seems like it can be done by a private initiative. It doesn't need government. Where would government fit in this? If we sat around here today, we are all tea farmers, and we say, let's start our cooperative producer cooperative society. What's to stop us?
No, let me tell you where government fits in. First of all, at that time, I remember we used to have Revitava tea research station. So that is where government was. And that is where most of the wisdom was coming from. Then, too, we used to have extension workers. So these extension workers would work with the tea research and for example, they would be the ones to teach people how to plant this tea. And sometimes even tea gets affected. They would, because tea is taken as the leaf, they would tell them how to spray, when to spray, and when to pick. So that is how the two are linked. Yeah.
On that note, we have to go into an ad break. You're watching our discussion on the budget 2017-18, specifically on agriculture.